Welcome to our channel, Million Dollars Made Easy. On this channel, we love to run numbers for people. What am I talking about? We look at the actual historical returns for the S&P 500 for the last 100 years, and we project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. They won't be identical, but they can give us a possible range of what may happen in the future. They're just going to be estimates, ballpark figures. Folks, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a numbers guy, but I love to set up spreadsheets just to show you what you might have based on 100 years of data. In this video, we're going to look at somebody in the accumulation stage. They're going to give me their beginning balance, their monthly contribution. They want to increase that each year and how long they want me to run it. So please restrict your request to these four criteria. And that's exactly what he did. He gave me his beginning balance, which he said he's 32 years old. He has 91,000 saved up already. Says he can save $800 a month. Again, we use the returns for the S&P 500. He says he can increase that by 3% a year, so $800 a month the first year, $824 the second, and so on. And we're going to go ahead and run the numbers for every single year for the last 100 years. This is the actual graph using the 1924 numbers. If the returns were like 1924 going forward, these are the kind of numbers you'd have. This is a summary box of this table right here. Notice after 34 years, you have 9.455 million. Now, every year it changes, obviously, depending on what these returns are. We picked 1929. Again, you had 4 down years. But look at that. Even with the depression type returns, 35 years later, you'd have $8.146 million. So we want to go ahead and run the numbers for this. I also want to show you the graph. These are 1920. This is a 1929 graph for a 26-year period. Look if we do a 35-year period. We're going to be looking at the 30, 32, 34-year, actually 32 to 35, because he said, where's he going to be at age 65 to 67? So I'll be right here to right here, 64, 66, and 67. I don't have a 33-year column, but look how it takes off, folks. Even in the depression years, it took a while to get going because he had so many down years. But if you're going to be in it for the long run, you're going to see this over and over and over again. No matter what year you pick, you're going to see it just takes off like a rocket if you can be in it for 34, 35 years. The compounding effect is simply phenomenal. So we're going to go ahead and run the numbers for every single year from 1924 on. So these are the numbers for this 32-year-old. You want to know where he'd be at age 65 to 67. This would be 64, this would be 66, and this would be 67. So we're going to be looking at these columns right here. For example, if he retired after 32 years, he would have put in 595,000. And the lowest you're going to see in this whole column, remember this is 32-year stretches for the last 100 years. The lowest you're going to see is 4,011,000. The median in this column is 5,668,000. There's actually a case where you have $12 million. That's the range that we talked about. So anywhere from 4 million up to 12 million is what you'd have if the returns continue to be what they've been doing for the last 100 years. This is the actual breakdown for the 32. Actually, here's a 32-year period. 45% of the time, color-coded in green, you'd have over 6 million. 14% of the time, color-coded in blue, you'd have over 8 million. There's actually 6% of the time, color-coded in gold, you'd have over $10 million. But look at what the difference just one more year can, or 2 more years can make. Age 66 would have put in 645,000. In the worst case scenario, then you have $5.2 million. The median would be 6.874, and the highest would be 14 million. Look at the difference, folks. 87% of the time, you'd have over 6 million in this column. 33% of the time, you'd have over 8 million. And 12% of the time, you'd have over $10 million. Again, the red row is the worst case scenario. This row in the middle is the median, and this is the best case scenario over the last 100 years for each of these different time periods. Let's look at the 35-year column. That's when he's age 67. He would have put in these amounts you put in over the years. He'd put in 671,000. And the worst case scenario, to have 5.462 million. Go down through, it looks like it's 1940 would be the lowest one you're going to find in this column. Look at this, 96% of the time, you'd have over $6 million color-coded in green. 48% of the time, color-coded in blue, you'd have over 8 million. And there's 17% of the time, you'd have over $10 million. Now, folks, these are impressive numbers. But I want you to realize over the same period of time, you got inflation working against you. So I always like to take into account inflation. We usually use a 3% rate. You can do whatever you want, whatever rate you want me to pick, and we'll go ahead and run the numbers. But let's just go ahead and look at the 35-year column because that's when he's 67. Again, the worst case scenario would be 5.462. But what kind of buying power would that money have? Again, this is if you had the worst case scenario in the last 100 years, you'd end up with this kind of money. But the buying power with a 3% inflation rate would be 1.941 million. The buying power of this almost $8 million, which is a median in this column, would be 2.825. And then, of course, the 5 million on this 15 million. So that shows you how inflation affects these numbers. This would be the buying power. Now, what we also want to do on this channel, on this video, is showing you what you might be able to withdraw from these amounts. Again, these are the buying powers of these amounts down here. For example, after 32 years, this $4 million out of the buying power of 1.558. What kind of income would that bring in future dollars, in the buying power of what they'd be worth in the future? That had the buying power of $5,193 a month coming in. So if you're planning on needing $5,000 a month, this would actually meet it. This would actually meet it. All these are calculated, take into account inflation. Of course, we're looking at today's expenses. They're gonna increase, but you'd actually have this kind of money, but it had the buying power of this kind of monthly amount. But look at that, 35 years. You'd have a buying power of $6,471 a month, which is like $75,000 a year. So if he continues to do this, he's going to be in great shape, having $75,000 in buying power in the future based on this amount. This is the worst case scenario, folks. I want you to look at the median. This is with the 1.941 in buying power. If we change this to the median numbers, that would be $9,418 a month coming in. That's basically about $15,000 a year, just with these kind of numbers. If he continues to do it, that's what we do on this channel. I just like to throw in these monthly amounts because it kind of makes it real. Okay, what kind of buying power that's going to have? That's like $9,418 a month coming in. Be a lot more than that in buying in actual numbers, but the buying power to be like this kind of having this kind of money in today's dollars. That's the kind of buying power you have. But that's what we do on this channel. We run all kinds of different numbers. I love it when I catch somebody young because then I can show them this kind of a graph and show them that they can be in it for 34, 32, 34, 35 years, which is what he asked for. Look at the kind of graph. Look at how it takes off. It takes off slow. These are 1929 numbers, but no matter what year I pick, watch this graph here. It's changing, going up, going up. It's always got, now you could have a drop like that. That could possibly happen. This was probably the 1973, 74 decade where you were down 14 and down 26. It took a nosedive, but you stick with it. Look where he comes out at, over $7 million in that scenario. But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. Please let people know about this channel. Let them know there's a channel out there that will run numbers for them. That'll give them some idea of what they might have in the future based on 100 years worth of data. Please share this channel, comment, like the videos. Let people know that I will run numbers for them. Again, just give me these 4 criteria and I'll go ahead and run numbers for you. It's best if we have at least 25 years. If I can catch somebody when they're young, the numbers are simply amazing. We also do it during the withdrawal stage, showing you how long your money might last, depending on how much you're withdrawing. We also take into account Social Security and pensions if you have one. But thanks for watching.